Good evening. I am Cynthia Elliott, President of the Rochester Board of Education, and we welcome you to the March 23rd, 2023 business meeting. We will start our agenda with a call to order, an act of reverence, and pledge of allegiance to the flag. And I'm going to ask our student board member representative if he wouldn't mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that very much. And the next item on the agenda, I'm going to turn it over to our board clerk, Rahima Wynn, to provide us with the upcoming Board of Education events. Ms. Wynn?
Good evening, commissioners and community. Our April Board of Education upcoming events are as follows. As a reminder, there are no meetings the first week of April, April 3rd to April 7th, as students will be on spring break. We will convene our first meeting of the month with Policy and Audit on Tuesday, April 11th, beginning at 5:30 p.m. On Wednesday, April 12th, we will hold our 2023-24 public budget hearing, followed on Thursday by a board work session, also starting at 5:30 p.m. On Tuesday, April 18th at 5:30, we'll have our ESA committee, followed by a special meeting for the consideration of resolutions. On Wednesday, April 19th, will be our first budget deliberation session at 5:30 p.m. Then Tuesday, April 25th, we will convene the Finance Committee at 5:30 p.m. Following that Wednesday with our second budget deliberation, also slated to begin at 5 p.m. And we'll end the month with our monthly business board meeting at 6:30 on Thursday, April 27th. As a reminder, those wishing to sign up to speak with President Elliott, you may do so by going to our board page on the rcsdk12.org website. This is open for employees, parents, and students can set up a 30-minute meeting on Monday evenings to discuss issues and concerns with President Elliott. Any speaker wishing to sign up to address the board at any of our meetings may do so by noon of the day of the meeting via phone at 262-8525, which is the board office, or you may email boardofeducation@rcsdk12.org. Additionally, the board continues to recruit for parent representatives, where applications may be found on our website at rcsdk12.org/BOE parent rep. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item of agenda, we don't have any minutes for this evening, is that correct? All right, thank you. So the next item on the agenda is speakers addressing the Board of Education, and I'm going to allow Ms. Wynn to call up those who would like to speak before the board. Ms. Wynn?
Yes. Our first speaker of the evening is Ms. Sharon Peck, a parent, speaking about recess and play. Ms. Peck will be joining us via Zoom. Ms. Peck, you'll have Ms. Peck, you'll have 3 minutes once you begin.
I'm ready. Thank you. Thank you all very much for hearing me today. I am Dr. Sharon Peck. I am a parent of 2 scholars at the World of Inquiry and a parent leader. And I sincerely appreciate the district's vision of the wellness policy revision last spring to ensure that every child receives 20 minutes of daily recess. However, recess is not a consistent daily practice in all of our schools. It is commonly taken away as a punishment or due to pressure from administrators. It's time to both enforce this recess policy and support teachers to enact other practices to avoid suspending recess. The district wellness plan calls for 20 minutes. Nationally, the CDC suggests 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity daily for young people aged 6 to 17. Yet, what I hear from my children and see is that recess is often taken away. This has to stop. There are alternatives that teachers can use to support their goals for student behavior. I get it. But when they take away recess, this is what happens. Children don't have opportunities for the necessary cognitive reset, which helps them to learn more efficiently. They don't have the opportunity to regulate, to enact those executive functioning skills that we want them to develop. When a child sits out and watches everyone else play, they are being shamed, which has significant impact on their social emotional development, their sense of self, and their sense of academic abilities. And knowing that they might lose recess creates unpredictability and heightens their anxiety, which they may already have about being in school and not being talked to in loving ways. We have students who then demonstrate more negative behaviors because their basic needs aren't being met, and they are now emotionally upset watching their peers play. They are losing the chance to learn social communication and negotiation skills. And there's so much more. But we know better. We know that kids do best with constancy, routines, and realistic expectations. We know that students need to feel valued and respected in schools. And we know that developmentally, students need to wiggle, they need to move, they need to stand up and jump and hop. This doesn't happen in an atmosphere of shaming, controlling, and withholding recess. So here is my ask. I am asking for you to develop ways to support and enforce the district recess policy, to provide support for teachers so that they have other alternatives to shaming and withholding recess from children, to provide teachers and aides with professional development so they can lead and support play during recess and all day long, to explore positive behavioral interventions and supports, and to recognize the impact that recess, play, and a playful environment has on all of us, but especially our children. Thank you, and thank you for advocating for our children.
Thank you, Ms. Peck. Our next speaker is parent Toyin Anderson, and she'll be speaking about recess and play via Zoom. Ms. Anderson, you'll have 3 minutes once you begin.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me in this space. I am here as a parent concerned about recess. And a little bit of background, in my opinion, that what I believe, that, every child has the right to play in school, every single one. Children learn best through play. That's something that's proven in any kind of research. Children have fewer behavioral problems in school when they engage in daily active play because they get the wiggles out. They can be more focused for learning. Daily recess improves attendance. Children enjoy coming to school. Children experience fewer mental health and development concerns when they have daily recess and active play incorporated in their learning. Play mitigates the negative impacts of trauma and is a mechanism to support racial health equity. For some children in our district, the only safe place they can play is at school. There's a district policy that requires daily recess and prohibits removing recess and using it as a punishment, but not all schools or classrooms follow this policy. Not all of the schools in our district has dedicated places for children to play. Example, their playgrounds, their gyms, or anywhere on the campus. Children perform better on standardized test measures when they have daily time to play. Basically, the brain loves play. My child and my children that goes to the district, right? Or any child is what I'm trying to say. That, I don't know, children are in the womb playing. Children need play. It's a requirement like they need the air to breathe. I know my daughter would complain and feel bad and would come home and tell me, oh, because one of my classmates was not following the rules or something, now nobody gets recess. And I'm like, she would understand and be like, that is not fair, because she understands what equity means. And also, as a parent, talk to her about the policy and the rules. So it's not supposed to be used as a punishment. So irrespective of how a child shows up on that day. Recess is something that they should have. And I'm asking everybody in this space, and most of us are parents, and understand what we will always tell our children to go do: go play, go play, go play. That means we clearly understand how important it is. And it's so easy for us to tell them to go to work.
Thank you, Ms.
Child's play
Anderson.
is work. Thank you.
Our next speaker, Ms. Evans, a parent who's going to be joining us via Zoom. Is Ms. Evans in the room?
She's currently not in the Zoom room.
Okay. Ms. Evans is not in the Zoom room, so we'll move on to Ms. Tammy Williams, a parent addressing concerns at school number 10. Ms. Williams will be joining us via Zoom.
Tammy is also currently no longer on.
Okay, thank you. Our next speaker will be parent Kimberly Bennett, who is speaking regarding safety concerns at school number 10. Ms. Bennett will be joining us via Zoom.
Ms. Bennett is currently in the room.
Okay,
She's coming on video.
thank you. Ms. Bennett, you will have 3 minutes once you begin.
Hello, board. Hi. Yes, my name is Kimberly Bennett, and I'm addressing the board because of safety issue and concerns I have. And I have Miss Williams with me because she had technical difficulties, so I have to pass the phone over to her when I get done.
Okay, Ms. Bennett, yes.
My concerns is I have addressed several issues that was going on in the school. To give you a little sum up, my husband passed away in October. We buried her dad, was my husband. And ever since then, we knew that it was going to be a big transition losing him after him being in her life all that time. But it's kind of funny. It's like she goes to school and my daughter, and I addressed it to them and let them know that he has passed away. But the bullying has increased since he has passed away. We had several kids tell my daughter her dad is dead. We reached out to the teacher. I have reached out to the administration. They said that it was going to be addressed, but it really has not been addressed. It's still going on. And every time we get the information, it's like nobody is acting on what they say they're going to do. They say one thing and do another. And it's like we have several meetings and nothing is going on. And it's like, come on, I understand you're a new teacher, but I'm not the only parent feeling this way. You have several kids that was in that class, and I have talked to parents that actually pulled their kids out of that class because of the bullying, and it has not been addressed. It's like stuff fall on deaf ears when it should be addressed, but it's not, and they say they're going to do it, but it's not being done. And that's why I said I came to y'all to see if you can seek some guidance and help, because mental health is real. These are little ones that are going to get bigger. They should be able to talk to somebody and their concerns get addressed, not be put aside. And that's all I have to say to y'all today. Thank you for listening. Here go Mrs. Williams.
Thank you, Ms. Bennett. Ms. Williams, thank you for joining us. You'll have 3 minutes once you begin.
My concern is the bullying. And like she said, with the mental health. My daughter, Kamaya, she get bullied every day to where her hair falling out. Some days she don't want to go to school. She done got a book thrown at her face, markers thrown at the back of her head. She's self-conscious about her face, so every time she go to school, she wants to wear a headband. I addressed my concerns September 28th. I emailed Ms. Thomas. I let her know that my daughter is being bullied. She's not getting the academic learning that she needs. She says to me, it's a new teacher, give her a chance. I emailed this teacher. I got all evidence. She don't respond back. She told me that my daughter was in groups in the beginning of the school year. We had a meeting, come to find out, she never signed my daughter up in groups. My daughter was falling off in math. Now, all of a sudden, she goes to math, but it's the end of the school year. Testing's gonna come up. She's not gonna pass the test. She's gonna fail the test due to Thomas saying, give this teacher a chance. She's new, we're here to support her. Another concern I have, I only got 3 minutes. I got a lot to say, but My son, last week, he almost ate a burrito with an egg in it. I reached out to Ms. White. She said that his chart wasn't updated ever since last year in November. And I'm trying to find out why his chart wasn't updated until last year in November, and she just recently updated it. Another concern is that whenever you address your concerns about your daughter being touched on or cruel words said to her, the teacher favorite line is, "I didn't know, I didn't see." It was just another incident 2 days ago where my daughter was in lunch and the student went over and took her food and ate it. Then yesterday was another incident where she was on the carpet and he kicked her. She addressed it to the teacher. She always say, "I didn't know, I didn't see." So Ms. Thomas reached out to her and she told Ms. Thomas the same thing. And Ms. Thomas told her that was unacceptable. If you got a teacher in the front of the room and you got a teacher in the back, how come you don't see the bullying? My daughter done got her stuff pulled out of her cubby, thrown across the room, addressed it to the teacher. "I don't know, I didn't see." So basically she's saying if she didn't see it, it's nothing she can do about it. So it's just a lot of ongoing things. My main concern is though is my daughter's education. She's falling behind in her grades and I don't like it. Sutton sit her next to people who distracts her, as far as the boys saying names, calling out names. Kendall goes through the same thing on where is that she's not getting her learning academics as well. If I could sit here and talk to y'all more than 3 minutes, I would, but that's all I'm gonna say for now, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Our next speaker is Charles Perot, a community member speaking regarding jury outreach. Yes.
I'll note for the record that I'm accompanied by Donna Rainford Davis. Thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. You might be wondering, why are we here? I'm the jury commissioner for the New York State Courts here in Monroe County. Donna is my deputy commissioner. We have tremendous passion about our community. As I look at what we did to walk over here tonight, it occurred to me there are two major institutions within walking distance of each other. The City School District and the Hall of Justice, of course. And I think we both stand for justice, for equity, and for civic engagement. We have been working for years and we continue to work constantly to improve the pool of available jurors, especially with people who live in the city of Rochester. So we have a new program with a new slogan called Justice Starts at Jury and Jury Starts with You. We have a packet that we're going to give to each of you. Just let me quickly review what it has. It first of all has our contact information, and I'm hoping that after the board and the superintendent and administration have had a chance to deliberate about this, that you'll give us the opportunity. I'm going to talk about two opportunities that we'd like you to think about. Also, a poster that you could distribute widely throughout the district. We'll provide it to you electronically if you'd like it, or in hard copy. Our program says this: why should you be a juror? We ask that question. Well, without you being ready, willing, and able to serve, of course, the jury can't do its job. You can make sure there's equal justice. You as one juror can make a critical difference. You can make your view, your life experience, and your opinions matter. You can make your voice heard. You're the key to justice. So, a two-pronged effort. First of all, students. I believe participation in government is still a class that every high school senior takes. We'd like to ask you to consider to have us with a group of people from the Hall of Justice, some of the judges, some of our other court managers and leaders, to make a presentation about jury service in every section of every participation in government class that the district is running. The biggest group of new people that we qualify to be jurors every year are people who've recently turned 18. So let's make that connection in high school. For adults, the employees of the district is a tremendous employer, in my opinion, because you pay people their wage while they're on jury duty. That's important to help people to serve. So we want to connect with this effort to encourage people who haven't been qualified yet to go to our website. There's a QR code. You can go right there and be qualified. And if you had a prospective questionnaire out there and you've forgotten to send it in, send it in. That's the end of my 3 minutes. The other part of our outreach to adults would be hopefully to connect through PTSA and other parts of the school community. So Donna has these handouts, and thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Perot.
And who should we give the handouts to?
I'll take those back. Thank you.
I'll note that 4 members of the Board of Education served on jury duty last year. We'd like to have all 7 of you. You can sign up through the QR.
Our last speaker for the evening will be Mr. L. Andrew Evans, a community member, speaking to training in Rochester construction. Mr. Andrew? I'll take those, thank you. Absolutely. Mr. Andrew, you'll have 3 minutes once you begin.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. My name is L. Andrew Evans, and I'm here to talk to you about a training program called Rochester Construction Training Center. The website is also Rochester Construction Training Center, and my phone number is 585-309-1595. Now, why am I here? We train young people in the field of construction, all phases of construction. We train young people that was kicked out of school or dropped out of school or they aged out. We train those young people in the field of construction, so what we do is we keep them off the street. We give them a trade that they can earn a living wages with the training that we give them. And we give them a nice graduation with certificates and certifications that they wouldn't otherwise have, make them proud of the community. Why am I here? I'm here because we're in the same business. We want to train these young people. Now, most of the people that we train come from the Rochester City School District. But we are located at 1439 Buffalo Road, which is in the town of Gates. We should be in the city of Rochester. The city school district have so many buildings that's unoccupied, been unoccupied for years, that's just sitting there. And we're hoping that after this presentation, someone will reach out to us so we can occupy one of those buildings, have the training in the city of Rochester. We are Rochester Construction Training Center, and we can train more people. Right now, we train an average of 45 students per year. We can double or triple that with a little help from the Rochester community. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Andrew. President Elliott, that is the balance of speakers for the evening.
Thank you. So the next item on the agenda is the Student Advisory Council report.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Deo Bion. I'm the president of the Student Leadership Congress and also an 11th grader at Rochester Early College International High School. The Student Leadership Congress held its meeting on March 15, 2023 at Central Office, and we also had 2 Zoom meetings, one on March 21st and one actually right now, to review specific board policies. For the Student Leadership Congress's March meeting, students from Early College, Edison, and Wilson High School were all representing their schools respectively during this meeting. Together, we discussed future plans after high school, and I updated my team on past events over this month. SLC members highlighted a potential program called Suited Kings. With support from the community, this program will focus on young men being fitted with donated suits and other prom-related accessories. Students also talked about SOUP, Summer of Opportunities program, and the deadline for youth applications is March 31st. Some members of SLC are current ambassadors for the program. Members of the SLC will be facilitating restorative discussions related to the impact on students around bullying and peer pressure at the My Brother's Keeper Youth Peace Summit this Saturday, March 25th. This youth-led event will present findings to both the RCSD Board and the Rochester City Council through our collaborative facilitation with the City of Rochester Youth Voice One Vision. We also had Janae Slade and Amy Stein from Rochester Education Foundation, who informed the members about youth enrichment programs offered by the foundation, such as donating instruments to schools and current scholarship offerings for graduating seniors. The Education Foundation has a Spring College Catch event on April 22nd. Students will learn about college readiness and all about the FAFSA application process. SLC members also met in 2 additional Zoom meetings this month to discuss, review, and provide our suggestions on board policies 5153, 4090, 4710, 5220, 4513, 4750, and 5000. All our suggestions will be submitted tomorrow morning. And what I'm really excited to talk about is our exciting initiative that our SLC members are undertaking is our service project. Our service projects will be presented on Global Youth Service Day, which occurs in April. We will continue to work on these projects until completion. Some of these projects include, but are not limited to, our first grade buddy reading, where high school upperclassmen will be reading to first graders and hosting a teddy bear picnic. All students will bring in a favorite stuffed animal, and the high school students will read a favorite book or 2 with the first grade student. The first grade classes will be presented with the classroom library with 25 new books. This will occur at School 58, Wilson Foundation, and School 45. I also have the honor of presenting our Peace Garden at East High School, where SLC students, some East High School students, and staff will revive the Peace Garden at East and add memorials for Jaquela Young, a student who passed away in September 2020 to gun violence, and Shauna Pies, who passed away in February of 2023, an English teacher at both Greece Athena and East High School. This will allow students and staff access to a peaceful and restorative space and to remember and cherish former East High School students and faculty members. I would now like to take a quick moment of silence for these people who are lost. We also have our Edison Tech Athletic Hallway, where SLC students and some Edison staff will clean and improve the hallway entrance in the athletic department at Edison. They will paint and decorate the walls to make the entrance more inviting and to build school pride. And that concludes my report, but I'd also like to make a president's comment. Recently at my school, Rochester Early College, at lunch, students were offered tortilla chips that were out of date. I believe that this is an example of a lack of responsibility and accountability on the side of the district. With $2.5 million invested into food service, you would expect more carried into the lunches. This was recently brought up by students in my school, and I just wanted to give it the attention it deserves. I understand that there are multiple problems facing lunch and lunch staff, but I believe students deserve to have fresh food items for lunch. As always, it's a pleasure to represent the students of the Rochester City School District. The Student Leadership Congress looks forward to continuing our partnership with the board and to recruiting more students from every school. I would also like to thank each and every one of my peers who do incredible work and who are meeting at this moment to review board policies for the district. I couldn't have done it without them. That concludes this month's Student Leadership Congress report. Thank you.
Thank you. Parent Leadership Advisory Report? The Parent Leadership Advisory Report? I wasn't on.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Janice Spoor. I am part of the Black Leadership Team. The Black Leadership Team held its monthly leadership meeting on Wednesday, March 8th via Zoom, where the main focus was discussing the upcoming May General Membership Meeting. The May General Leadership Meeting includes the opportunity for parents to join the leadership of PLAC in an open enrollment, volunteer opt-out option, which is the standing steering committee towards PLAC. To join, you just have to be a parent of the RCSD student, read the PLAC bylaws, and commit to meetings for 1 Zoom meeting per month for the calendar year at 6 p.m. with a date to be agreed upon by the group. There is a parent partnership meeting for all parents interested in getting more information next Wednesday, March 29th at 5:30 p.m. via Zoom. So if you have gotten the link and would like to, you can send us an email, plaque@rcsdk12.org, or you can follow us on our Facebook link. The information will be posted there. A survey will be going out to district-wide to find out We school campus parents would like the May meeting to be held, which will be a year-end parents connection, and we look forward to celebrating with you all. Parent recruitment is important because there is so much work to do. The Office of Parent Engagement and the Placement Department is aware of challenges parents face for the February enrollment deadline and a breakdown in the current safety transfer process. Through collaborative conversations with the administration, we, PLAC, have come to understand that the transfer process itself has not been changed, but the interpretation of the process has for one end of COVID to another. Parents who are struggling to get their children what they need in transfers, I'd encourage to reach out to PLAC, OPE, and any district-wide parent group. Parents should be utilized as partners in decision-making for problem-solving these very difficult decisions on keeping our students safe. In February, PLAC General Membership Meeting discussed school climate and safety. The Bilingual Education Council also hosted the Safety and Security Team, and for the Special Education Parent Advisory Council meeting in April, we will also be there. This will indicate to the district and to the board how important the issue is to parents. We want to thank Chuck Cutler, Daniel Buttercourt, excuse me if I pronounced that name wrong, for accepting the invitation to meet with parents. Last month has been a huge change to the administrative cabinet. Regardless of our personal feelings and our own joys and excitement to see family faces, such sweeping changes in March without any information to parents or students on how this transition will affect academic are extremely upsetting. We're looking forward to the draft budget, but we're disappointed that there has been zero parent input in any of it. In the PLAC Board of Education report submitted in July 2022, the PLAC leadership team supply a specified list of parents who qualify to serve under the specific of the board process with an offer to serve in temporary seats while placement parents were found. We were prompted by the clerk and board members to submit formal applications for parent representative seats, many which continue to be empty, and every single one of the parents were denied an assortment of reasons that have yet to be clarified. At the beginning of each meeting, you continue to request parent support to fill vacancies, but parents are also being denied placement on committees. One parent was told that their child needed to be in a physical RCSD building and not in a community-based organization site, while this district is in one that decided on the placement. The one parent with a committee placement was removed without formal written notice, while one applying was told that a committee was being reconstructed that has met 3 times since the notice was sent. If the choices will be made based on additional criteria, then those decisions need to be public and transparent for community to see and understand. Parents are to be placed on every committee that has vacancy. The Board of Education and RCSD values diversity, equity, and inclusion. However, diversity, equity, and inclusion are being ignored when parents are not being included in spaces that they are most valuable in. Parents and students should be welcome and encouraged as active partners at every decision-making table this district can find, as partners in all ways. Students are the stakeholders, while parents are the decision maker. We are all the change makers of our collective to support and create a community that uplifts our students. Thank you for your time. And again, if you have any questions or comments, you can reach out to plac@rcsdk12.org, or you can reach us on our Facebook page. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't want to have a hot microphone. I've had that in the past, and so.
I spoke to the Auditor General, and we don't have anything to report at this time that I know of.
Okay, I do see a report.
Let me see what we have here.
Yeah. It's a report here, Commissioner.
All right, I'll read it. Okay. Let's see, date March 23rd, President Elliott and members of the Board of Education. Let's see, audit report for the March 23rd, 2023 business meeting. The audit committee convened as a committee of the whole on Tuesday, March 7th, 2023. During the meeting, the Auditor General reviewed the findings from the Monroe High School School Activity Funds Report, Franklin High School Activity Funds Report, and the Professional Services Contract Audit Follow-up Report. The board accepted the reports and related recommendations. We also reviewed and discussed the internal audit plan for Office of Auditor General. The plan includes work in special education, human resources, Oracle, building safety, revenue assurance, transportation, attendance, student activity funds, and annual financial audit, follow-up, and special projects. Can I have a motion to accept the Office of Auditor General's work plan?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by the President, Elliott, and seconded by Commissioner Malloy.
Any
All right.
questions or comments?
Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. All right. Good.
Yes, you're all set.
Okay, thank you. At our next meeting, we'll be starting the annual financial audit process. We'll begin reviewing the external audit plan, and Drescher and Malicki LLP, who will perform the financial audit and assist the district with completion of the annual comprehensive financial report for the year ending June 30th, 2023. The next audit committee meeting is scheduled for May 2nd, 2023. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Patterson. There's no community intergovernmental relations report for this month, so we'll go to There's no community intergovernmental relations report for this month, so we'll go to the ESA committee. Commissioner Simmons.
Good evening. The Equity and Student Achievement Committee of the Whole met on Tuesday, February 28th. The board reviewed and accepted the minutes for the January 17th ESA Committee of the Whole meeting. And during that particular meeting on the 28th, Chief Academic Officer Shani Keelan, accompanied by Dominic Picard and Sheldon Cox, presented the updated online course catalog and the Career and Technical Education Plan. The catalog is available on our website at www.rcsdk12.org/course catalog. The CTE program continues to grow. We're very excited about that, and that includes the driver's education course, which is now available at all high schools, and electric cars will be utilized and teachers will be trained as driving instructors. There's more to come in the world of CTE, ESA. Stay tuned. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. We're going to do the agenda a little differently. I'm going to have Vice President LeBron to report on the HR committee report first, and then she'll report on the Finance Committee. Vice President?
Yes, thank you, and I do want to thank Commissioner Malloy for chairing the meeting, as well in my absence. The Human Resources Committee convened as Committee of the Whole on Tuesday, March 21st, 2023. The HR Committee discussions focused on the following items. Commissioner Malloy chaired the HR Committee on my behalf. The board reviewed and accepted the minutes from the January 24th, 2023 HR Committee of the Whole. Chief Miller, the Director Miller, Recruiter Dickerson, and Director Allen presented the staffing and recruitment updates, including staff spotlights, staff vacancy updates, recruitment and retention updates, and affinity groups. Teacher Assistant Bell from school number 22 was recognized for his service to our students and the district through the staff spotlight. The next in-person Human Resources Committee meeting is May 23rd, 2023, and that concludes the Human Resources. I'll now move over to the Finance. The Finance Committee report. The Finance Committee did not convene this month. However, the committee continues to participate in monthly preview meetings in order to receive the district's financials, upcoming resolutions with a fiscal impact, as well as any additional reports as needed. This month, the previews meeting took place on Thursday, March 16th, and at this time, I invite our Chief Financial Officer, Sean Farr, to present the February and March 2023 financial reports. And I'll turn over the mic to our CFO.
Thank you, Commissioner LeBron. This month, there's actually two sets of financial statements. One is through January 31st of this year, and the second one is February 28th. The reason why you have two packets is the February meeting was moved up because of the recess break week, and because it was moved up earlier, we weren't able to produce the statements in time to get to that meeting. So you're getting two sets. What I will do, though, is I will focus on the February 28th ones, which is actually one's labeled, I think it's labeled March. Yeah, it's okay. So at the end of February, there was $189 million of cash, which is good. And to compare that to last year, we had, at the same time, we had $162 million. So we're up $27 million in 1 year, which is a significant increase year over year. So that just is reflective of our continued positive cash flow. And this is primarily because of the stimulus, the impact of the stimulus funds on the district's budget. If you go down to section C, and you'll see a highlight that we continue to increase the allocations for interest earned. And that is, again, reflective because the high cash level, two things. One is we have a lot more cash than we did previously, but also the interest rates that we're returning are pretty good. The New York class fund, the city invests our cash for us. A lot of it is invested in a fund that's returning 7% right now. So it's good. Going to the top of page 2, you'll just note there's an item that came in, it's labeled healthcare worker bonus. The state implemented a program for frontline healthcare workers coming out of dealing with COVID. The major emphasis was hospital workers, specifically think of the hospital workers in New York City, but it was broadened to healthcare workers, and it was also broadened out to school districts. And so we have employees that qualified. They were submitted. We received the funds from the state, and then the funds were paid as one-time bonus payments to employees. This program will continue for a few more quarters from the state. So that's money coming in and going out. If you go down to, just down a little bit there where we have projections, so revenue projections, and you'll see that the general fund is projected right now to be about $4 million less than the budget, which is 0.5%. And I've kind of stated previously the tolerance ranges that I look for in a budget are plus or minus 1% on revenue and expenditures. Not that being down 0.5% is good, but it's to give you an indication that it's not a major issue for us. The shortage really kind of relates to less funding that we're getting in transportation aid from the state for this year. has caused an impact that we didn't anticipate in the budget. If you slide over in that same schedule and you go over to the far right, though, you'll see overall, when you take into account the general special aid and school service, food service fund, that we're projecting to be good to about $6 million, which is 0.6%. So that's a positive 0.6. So when you take the impact of various grants and aid programs, we're doing well. Going down to section D, where we summarize kind of where we are budgetarily. If you look at the general fund column and you get down to available appropriations, it's $281 million. This is through February, which is 2/3 of the year, 2/3 of the way through the year, which would be about 67% of the year, and $281 million is 33.7% of the budget. So what that reflects is that we're tracking very closely to the budget, which is actually the goal. The goal is for us to budget appropriately and expend the funds for the benefit of the students. Go to top page 3, and you'll see here, this is a summary of federal stimulus. The CRISA funds, as of February 28th, we still had $30 million. That is to be expended by June 30th of this year. We have a plan in place to expend all those funds. You slide over to the next column, the ARP funds. As of February 28th, we still had $136 million. Those funds, they go to September 30th of 24, but we're developing a plan to expend those funds by June 30th of 24. And we have plans in place to do that as well. You'll see a lot of programming coming out next year, or, well, we're starting now, but you'll see the preparation. We have a lot of funds still to expend on programs. Section 8 is the detail listing of all the journal entries. There's 39 pages this month, small print, and that is reflective of we reconcile our positions versus our budgeted positions, what we budget and the amounts we budget, versus actual to who's actually in the position. What did we budget for a position, and what are we actually expending? And we do what we call up down, which is some are higher, some are lower, and then we net that all out, and so that causes a lot of journal entry activity, and you're seeing that in the 39 pages. You go down to section G, and you'll look at the cash capital column. That is local share, our funds. And we had a balance of about $13 million, $12.9 million available. In the month of February, we expended $830,000. And as I've mentioned in previous meetings, the facilities department is working during the school year on what are, in essence, smaller projects because they're doing them when students are still in the building. The major projects happen during the summer and when buildings are taken offline. So that's a fairly small amount. And even smaller, you go over to the bond column where there's $25 million balance, we expended $21,000 in the month of February. Go to the top, or page 4, top of page 4. These are some things to note here. There is a design, we're putting aside money to start the design work for Marshall to make it ready. This is in preparation for the FMP3 projects. And we need to prepare the school, bring it really up to code, because it's been used previously as a school and as swing space, but we're needing to bring it up to code in some areas here. And this is just to start to get the design work for the work that will actually happen down the road. And then there's a large item here, $750,000, which deals with emergency HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning project at Stevenson Elementary School. And food service, lastly, the food service, as of January 31st, where the food service was projecting an operating surplus of $314,000 without support, without drawing from the fund balance. The board in this budget year, we had allocated $1 million from food service fund balance. We had allocated $1.5 million from general fund balance. And right now, because of increased revenues, increased reimbursement rate from the federal government, plus increased participation rate, the number of students actually getting lunch and breakfast, financially, the program is in a very good place this year. Any questions?
Questions? Oh, start.
Thank you. I don't see any questions. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Patterson.
No problem. Just one. Earlier in your report, you mentioned that the transportation aid had been decreased by the state. Was there a reason for this decrease?
Yeah, so when we go out to bid for contracts, we award them. They get submitted to the state. The state reviews the contract, reviews the information. They approve it or don't approve it. There's actually two, but one that impacts this year that they did not approve. As a consequence, we're actually out right now rebidding 2 transportation contracts because they did not accept the process that we used. So so we're actually right now bidding out for really full scope of a lot of our transportation services for this coming school year so that we can get back into the right place with the state.
Okay, and will you give us an update on that when you get to that point?
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, it's a significant amount. It's a lot of money. So, because our transportation program is heavily aid funded by the state. Our building programs are aid funded by the state. So when it's all working well, everything flows good. And if we get off base, like we did with this particular contract, then it's not good. So we're in the process of basically recovering from that right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. At this time, can I have the motion to approve the district's unaudited February and March 2023 financial reports?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Commissioner Adams. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next finance meeting will feature a review of the financial reports, including Quarter 7 of the federal relief funds, the quarterly change order report, and the claims audit report. On April 12th, we will host a public budget hearing, and the first budget deliberation will take place on April 19th, and the next in-person finance committee meeting meets April 25th, 2023. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President LeBron. The next report is policy. Commissioner Powell.
Thank you. And thank you, David, our student rep, for sticking around. I noted in your report that you're reviewing several of the policies that were that we asked that the students in particular pay attention to. And there's one in particular that's not on your report, and I think that your advisors have been informed of this, and I want to make sure that it gets your attention. Policy 2300 is the board bylaws, and that is the source and origin for the student representative being part of our board and you sitting on the dais. On page 6 of policy 2300 is the part that, that governs the student representative, and it refers to the charter or the student government bylaws of 1997. Now, SLC has been around since only a little bit more recently than 1997, and the policy has been updated 10 times since then, and no one has ever noticed that the name of the organization is wrong, that it doesn't refer to Student Leadership Congress, it refers to its previous iteration. And also, we have not seen the charter. We don't know exactly how you are now elected, and nobody can dig up the original charter from Brett Bruin's day when he created the SLC in its current configuration. So it's really important to us that Student Leadership Congress look at its bylaws and get us a copy, and so that we can put a new version in our policy 2300. Okay? And thank you for sticking around to hear me tell you that. Okay? So my report. We met last on Tuesday, March 7th. We talked about the current state of the Code of Conduct, which is still evolving, and we hope to have it before the board. Charisma's not here. I think by the April Policy Committee meeting. We also talked about the how we're going to look at the policy deliverables insofar as they are composed of reports and recommendations. The only policy that actually moved through in our last meeting was the fund balance policy. It was presented by CFO Farr, and the committee did vote it out of committee. So tonight will be our first reading of Policy 6500, Fund Balance. The second readings will be later on in tonight's meeting. There are 12 of those. And in addition to that, there's a recommendation that 4 policies be rescinded. Those 4 will be on the docket for second reading as well. And finally, the third reading, which is to say our vote on policies, is made up of 7 different policies. Since those are, I think, all lumped into a resolution, let me just give you the names of those. Policy 2350, video conferencing. Policy 8100, health and safety. Policy 8135, safe schools. Policy 8332, cell phone policy. Policy 8414.4, video cameras on school buses. Policy 8600, Medicaid compliance for health-related services. And finally, Policy 8910, recycling program. And tonight we are also recommending the, changing the school's meals and prohibition against shaming, 8505. Our next policy committee meeting of the whole will be Tuesday, April 11th. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell. And now the President's report. And so I'm going to sort of summarize this, not read it word for word. Just want to start off by giving a happy birthday to our Commissioner Camille Simmons. And I just found out that in about, 4 hours now, Commissioner Ricardo, is his birthday. So wanted to give them a shout out. And the OG Dr. Superintendent Sean Nems, who also had a birthday. So there are a number of birthdays for the month of March. So some of us, we're going to be eating cake downstairs that I made. So, so we will celebrate those birthdays down there. I just want to also thank the commissioners for participated in the retreat as well as the administration. Just so appreciative of the presentation that Dr. Jallo made about, just talking to us about things that we did, that we accomplished. Oftentimes when you're immersed in this work, you just sort of not think about the things that you did right and well, as she highlighted that for us at the retreat. And I just want to thank Dr. Jallo for doing that for us. And then once that was done, the administration was excused, and then the board went into a retreat along with Dr. Jallo. And it was really highly engaging. It was honest, and it was collaborative. And so I'm looking forward for us to continue that work. You already see a difference in us even before the retreat. And so I'm looking forward to that work continuing. And Dr. Muhammad has also reached out to us for one-on-one sessions. And so it's just a phenomenal, amazing retreat. And I thank all of my colleagues for that. The superintendent, myself, and Chief Communications Officer Marisol Lopez, we participated with the Conference of Big Five in the Advocacy Day, and we visited a number of elected officials and their staff, including, chairs of the Education Committee, Ways and Means, and also the governor's staff. And while we were there, as God would have it, we had an opportunity because we wanted to go see some of our delegations, so we were able to go to the assembly chambers, and lo and behold, they were voting on the appointment of Adrian Hale for regent. So we got an opportunity to hear Assemblywoman Clark, Assemblyman Demond Meeks, as well as Assemblyman Harry Bronson supporting the appointment of Adrian Hale. And so I don't know if Regent Hale is listening, but want to just offer on behalf of the board our congratulations for the appointment.
RCSD graduate, too.
And as the Vice President just said, an RCSD graduate. So we really looking forward to working with him. And so while we were there, unfortunately, we were not able to just visit with our local delegation. So the Conference of Big Five facilitated a Zoom meeting with our delegation. So again, as you know, under the leadership of Commissioner Adams, we had a local delegation legislative breakfast, but we got an opportunity via the Zoom to just reiterate the items that we need for our delegation to advocate for us. And so we're looking forward. And let me just also say about them, and I said this to them when we met with them, this has been the group that has been really committed to ensuring that Rochester City School District has as many supports as they can advocate for us. And that is to be commended. And I have promised them that if they're doing that kind of hard work for us, we're going to do that kind of hard work for them to make sure that we're graduating our students. And just remember, we're at a 71% graduation rate. Nobody talks about that. And some people have some questions about whether those are legitimate numbers, but the fact of the matter is, I remember when I started here, it was 39%. And for us to be, reporting that we have a 71% graduation rate, that's to be commended. Just want to, again, congratulate our honorees for Women's History Month. James Brown sang a song that this is a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. But, as I said earlier, women have held it down. We've always done good things. And so a couple of women that I'd like to highlight, and I just saw this woman. Her name is Maggie Lena Walker, who was chartered a bank and became its president. So the first African-American woman who was president of a bank. Go on, it's about 20 minutes. Just go online to see. It's a great story. It really would make a good made-for-TV movie, in all honesty. And Also, Dr. Alice Young, we were over there at 3 School the other day, and we were given a book that speaks to her story. Dr. Alice Young started in the Rochester City School District. I believe she was one of the first black teachers back in, I think, around 1955, and black administrator. She is the originator of the Urban Suburban program and served on Monroe Community College Board for a number of years. So these are 2 great women in our community. Still working on gathering information for safety issues, more of that to come. And just the last information is about, meetings that I've attended, leadership meetings or one-on-one meetings. Attended the Monroe County School Board's Labor Committee the other day, and continue to participate with the Council of Great City Schools. Their meetings are on Fridays, every other Friday at 1 o'clock. And so that's my report. And so we'll go down to the superintendent's reports, and we'll start with Superintendent Peluso. Superintendent?
Thank you, President Elliott. Good evening to you. Good evening to Vice President LeBron, Board Commissioners. This is my report for the month of March. Tonight, we celebrated Women's History Month and honored our talented students with a 4.0 GPA or higher. I stand in awe of the young women recognized this evening. I admire their many talents, steadfast determination, and incredible commitment to their education. Our district thrives because of them. I want to once again say congratulations to all of our recipients for their academic and civic achievements. I hope everyone takes this time this month to honor an important woman in their lives and acknowledge their impact. Women in Wrenches Day. The staff at Edison took advantage of the National Women's Month by hosting a Women in Wrenches Day on Thursday, March 2nd. This was a fantastic opportunity for students to work side by side with female professionals in the field of automotive technology, machining, engineering, and welding to learn more about these potential careers. These esteemed women in wrenches came from the City of Rochester, Monroe Community College, Rochester Tech and Manufacturing Association, and several other companies that specialize in steel, aluminum, engineering, and design. Students rotated through stations, completing mini projects, and they participated in network lunch with all the female professionals. I want to thank them for their time and sharing their special talents. RCSD is adding girls lacrosse. I love that we'll soon have trailblazing young women when the district adds lacrosse to its list of spring sports. This is the first time in the district's history we're adding girls lacrosse at both the JV and modified levels. The JV team has already begun practicing, and the modified team will start practice next week. Games at the JV levels will also begin next week. This combined team of athletes from various middle and high schools across the district will be joining teammates from the East Arundecoit School District. Home games will be played in East Arundecoit and Monroe Upper Schools. Congratulations to Gianna Alexander, a senior at School of the Arts, for being recognized as an exemplary high school student at the Princeton Prize in Race Relations Recognition Ceremony. 7 students in all were recognized as Princeton Prize participants. Gianna was selected because her efforts has a significant positive effect on race relations in our community. She is the secretary of the Black Student Union and serves as the president of SODA's Mosaic Club, a student-run organization at SODA since 2016. This is where students discuss topics that range from school culture and climate to racism, feminism, and stereotypes. I'm so proud that we have leaders like Gianna to take on our tough topics. Look at this amazing group. We are so fortunate to have amazing social workers that are helping our students navigate through some of the toughest times in our history. I appreciate the work they do to make sure students are able to have high-quality learning experiences and manage the social-emotional needs of countless students who face issues both inside and outside of schools, and I can't thank them enough. It's just a wonderful picture. We want to remind all parents that if your child turns 3 or 4 by December 1st, you can register now for full-day pre-K starting this fall. Pre-K is interactive with multilingual classes, wraparound options at many locations, and full-day programs at schools and community agencies. Pre-K offers engaging activities that promote social growth and early learning, along with indoor-outdoor play and rest time. We encourage parents to apply now. The deadline is Sunday, April 16th. Well, Mobile. Students had a whale of a time. You see what I did there? You see what I did? Learning about science, technology, engineering, and math earlier this month. A 40-foot replica of a humpback whale was brought to 7 of our schools this month so students could receive hands-on learning in a fun and engaging way. Classes were conducted inside the whale, where researcher Cindy McGinnis taught students about her 28 years of whale watching in Massachusetts. This was such a great opportunity for students to learn, and science came to life. Our HBCU field trips. I'm excited about a fantastic opportunity involving 30 to 40 students from each of our high schools. Already, students from Monroe and East have been able to tour HBCUs outside of New York State, all expenses paid. These trips are taking place during February and April break. College visits are an exciting time in the life of high school students, and I'm thankful our students are getting this experience. There are certainly many benefits to attending an HBCU, including the fact that students of color that attend those schools report feeling more at home and perform better in schools where they feel supported and safe. Our summer of opportunities, our students have the opportunity to find the perfect summer job. Perfect summer job. This is important, right? You have the opportunity to be employed through the city's Summer of Opportunity program. This is for students ages 14 to 20 who are still in middle school, high school, or a high school equivalency program. The Summer of Opportunity program is designated to provide work readiness training and employment opportunities to our youth while making a direct connection to success in school. For many, this is their first opportunity to gain real-life work experience. For students interested, there's a summer job application now online. The deadline is to apply by March 31st. Some more of our incredible students doing the right thing. I'd like to congratulate 3 of our students who have been recognized with the Do the Right Thing Award for their positive behavior, accomplishment, and good deeds. Carlos Cullett is a 3rd grade student at the Virgil I. Grissom School No. 7. He was nominated by a 911 dispatcher for helping his grandfather who had fallen ill while his mother was at work. Xaviana Matos was nominated by her 6th grade teacher at school number 42. A volunteer was working in a classroom last year and accidentally left her cell phone in the bathroom. She found the phone and returned it immediately to the main office. Javon Rivera is an 8th grader at Wilson Foundation Academy, was nominated by his school counselor for his heroic actions. He was playing with his cousin who received an electric shock and became unresponsive. Javon immediately ran to help, called 911, and started CPR until the fire department arrived. Congratulations to all 3 of these well-deserving award recipients. Understanding the importance of athletics and growing up an athlete myself, I know the life-changing positive impact that coaches can have on the lives of teammates and students. We have 2 such role models in our district who have been recognized as Section 5 Coaches of the Year. Mike McNeilis leads RCSD swim team. He's been the team's coach since 2021 and recently took team members to a state championship competition in Ithaca. Matt McCormick, the boys basketball coach at Monroe, was named Section 5's Coach of the Year for Class A2. McCormick has been an administrator in the RCSD since 2017. He works with 9th grade students at Monroe and is involved in their SMART program. Congratulations to both of these talented individuals. I would be remiss if I didn't recognize one of our own here at the dais. A special congratulation goes to President Cynthia Elliott. For Women's History of the Month, the members of City Council honored her for her community leadership, for making effective change, and for all the great work she does serving families, neighborhoods, and especially our youth. We are proud to have you as a great leader in this district. Thank you very much. That concludes my superintendent's report.
Y'all could have left that one off. Thank you, Dr. Peluso. Any questions? Any questions for Dr. Peluso? Commissioner Adams?
So you had mentioned that there's lacrosse there, and maybe I just didn't know, but I do know now that we have, this is Women's Month, National Women's Month, that we have female flag football in the district. Maybe we had it already, but I didn't know. But I just like we have it now, and I just had
Absolutely. I believe flag football started last year.
Okay.
And lacrosse is this year, so keep on adding them.
A couple of things. I cannot watch those girls play football, nor can I watch the little 9-year-olds or 4 or 5-year-olds boxing at Baden Street. I can't do it. I can't. I have a couple of questions. One is, I am looking at the social workers, and I'd like for us, Dr. Peluso, to be able to look at how do we recruit more male social workers. So, you know, I think that's, yeah, I don't know if they exist or not, but I think we need to look at to see if we can get more male social workers. And then I am really excited about the summer opportunity employment. I will say it to anybody who will listen that in Rochester, for the last 20 years or so, maybe 15, this community focused in on early childhood intervention. And we thought we were doing the right thing by focusing in on early childhood intervention, but we removed the funding, most of the funding from the age group of 12 to 18. And so because the state removed most of the funding and United Way removed most of the funding, we got in our city what we got with our young people. And so now what we have to do is not only fund for early childhood education, but we gotta fund for those students to provide those support services to the 13 through 18 age range. Some of the community-based organizations have done it. My former employer, we had one of the best youth programs in the state, where we provided them with those social skills. We provided them with mentorship opportunities. We provided them with internship opportunities. And in one of the programs, they were able to get a half a credit. So we really do have to go back. And then I think that someone told me that Ronald Reagan said this, that the best social services program or opportunity is a job. And the fact that we're giving our young people employment opportunities is just amazing. And so I just want to make sure that I'm talking about it, that I'm putting it on the record, because we've got to do more of this. They've got to have opportunities, and we've got to be able to wrap around those support services that they're going to need in order to transition into the workforce, in order to transition into other educational opportunities. So, Dr. Peluso, thank you so very much for doing this for our children. And again, what I'm saying now is for whomever is listening in our audience, that you all take on the bandwagon as well and fund more of these kind of programs for our young people, so they won't be stealing cars, they won't be crashing cars, crashing into businesses. This is our fault, because we did this, we took the funding. So thank you very much for that, Dr. Peluso. So the next report is from Dr. Nelms. Dr. Nelms, your presentation?
Yep, here we go. That's all. Yep, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. And in the spirit of keeping things positive, as Dr. Peluso started, I'm going to continue the same work. I think it's important that we honor and create a new narrative, to Commissioner Elliott's point, about our youth. The vast majority of our kids in Rochester are doing phenomenal things, and they're persevering. In fact, many of our students are asking to re-engage in schools, like having school dances and clubs, and Dr. Peluso is starting additional sports teams. I mean, that's what the kids are asking. Across the county, we are seeing that. Next slide. In fact, last night we had a community forum at East, and Dr. Peluso did an amazing job framing the work that is going on in RCSD, as well as Superintendent Groutman from Greece. We had a charter school member there and a host of others. And the theme, which was kind of organic, because the opening moderator, Dr. Nahoko Kwaku O'Connor, who's a professor at U of R, she talked about abundance versus scarcity mindsets. And abundance meaning that when we prioritize and we partner and we collaborate, we start to share information authentically, and we display a willingness to grow, that all communities can thrive. And what we saw after COVID was that every community was going through the exact same issues, just sometimes looking different based on their context. And for our kids, we see, like you said, some kids stealing cars and doing inappropriate things. They're crying out for help. But the vast majority of kids are crying out for additional support and additional school activities and authentic engagement. And what Dr. Peluso mentioned in his PowerPoint, I'll just continue in that effort and say that it truly takes a village. And so for those who presented last night, again, Dr. Peluso, Kathy Grotman from Greece, Paul Power from Rochester Prep on Common Schools, Jennifer Reese from East, Dr. Warner Washington from Rock the Future, and Deb Hammer, former director of PLTI. These individuals talked about the importance of having parents and communities as not only stakeholder groups, but critical partners in this work. So I thank Dr. Peluso and those from his team who showed up last night, and the community members who attended, and Dr. Ricardo Adams represented the board last night and did an amazing job and pushed our thinking around ensuring that kids know their teachers and teachers know their kids, and he even talked about different structures in schools that might promote that. So thank you, Ricardo, for your questions and your answers and engagement last night. As Carmine, Dr. Peluso mentioned earlier, the HBCU tours are a huge success. I mean, not only did it create some synergy among kids throughout the district, as these kids go off to college, they may have been sitting next to their future roommate or classmate. And so to have Rochester represented on these tours are phenomenal. In fact, there's about 300 kids who returned on Sunday from across the suburban schools who are on the HBCU tour. So it's important that we take our kids into spaces they may not have otherwise been, but also to make sure they continue to have an abundance mindset by collaborating across school districts and school systems. I know when my daughter went to Fredonia, I knew the parents in the area that had their kids going to Fredonia. We would car ride share and send up care packages and create our own little village of those students. I also want to acknowledge a few of our kids throughout the district, actually all of our kids throughout the district who participated in the Rochester's first robotics team. These are just two students that we honor at East. But if you look at those pictures, those are all our CSD students doing amazing work. And I know there are a lot of volunteers, including one of my frat brothers, who spend and volunteer many, many hours to support the development of students. So shout out to the students and all the teachers and volunteers who is making this experience for students memorable. Our children continue to be engaged in hands-on experiences throughout the region. Our focus at times are at the hospital system, because many of our students who are in our medical careers program or our vision care program have a desire to enter that field. Here you see students in our phlebotomy class or phlebotomy unit going in and actually drawing blood, learning about blood. I had a chance to walk through the unit that services all the blood distribution and handling at the hospital, and it's an amazing network of information. Found out that some of these programs require a 2-year degree, ex-technicians, and other require 4. These are highly paid jobs, highly sought after jobs, and we want to make sure that our students consider these as careers, and the best way to engage them is to have them experience it while they're in high school before they make decisions. The students in our 12-on-3 program put on a play for Romeo and Juliet. You talk about perseverance. These students work so hard to memorize their lines and their parts, and I want to honor them for engaging us as staff and for their teachers for working hard to put on the play Romeo and Juliet. It was a sight to see. Our students continue to be tenacious at East, making sure they persevere and try to master their craft. We say to them often to commit themselves to constant improvement, never rest on success. That's a quote from Rick Pitino. And here's a student who I've met when she was in Culinary 1, and her goal was to display her skills. She was very soft-spoken and shy, and to see her win first place, Ms. Santiago win first place in the MCC's culinary competition and receiving a scholarship for that work was incredible. She is a kid who spends all of her free time and spare time at East in the kitchen, helping other students, the level 1 students, and her work has surely paid off. For our CTE programs, we have students who are receiving paid internships. These scholars were drafted by nine local advanced manufacturing companies. They do like a basketball draft, if you will. And based on their applications and their resumes, their presentation, these companies will try to get the candidates that meet their company's needs best. In the end, these students have real life experiences in advanced manufacturing. Many of these students are in our precision optics course, and these students would like to work in the precision manufacturing field. And as we know, in Rochester, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And then lastly, we're going to talk about advocacy. Our half-day conference days, we realized many years ago that anytime you tell kids to come to school a half a day, many kids don't show up. So we wanted to flip it and kind of reimagine what that would look like. And our conference days now are mostly student-led. They help to create the day. They help to create the themes for the day, the courses that will be taught. Teachers lean into their passions outside of teaching. And so then between all of those energies and brain juices flowing, they come up with a day that's extremely exciting and engaging. And so you'll see, if you ever get a chance to visit on a student-led conference day, kids are all over the place doing all types of things: clay making, volleyball. They're outdoors when the weather is nice. They do displaying artwork, and it really allows kids to just have a day of expression and to share their pieces with one another and with their teachers. It's an amazing, amazing opportunity. Our students also, in our TLI program and other programs throughout the East, are in the elementary schools. This is at School 33, which is a school within the catchment area of East, and our students are often there. Previously, they were at 23 because of some past relationships with teachers, and we're trying to spread out to be in more spaces, more of the time, and getting kids to read, but not just read, but read books that are ethnically and racially representative of who they are, and, or who their classmates may be. And so these are our students who are in School 33 reading. And last, but certainly not least, I think I want to just take a moment to honor the life of Shayna Pies. Shayna Pies was a teacher at East and still is in our hearts, but she passed away recently of cancer. And if you were ever at East and you saw the woman walking around with the kit on her side and her headscarf on, I mean, she worked up until literally the last possible day. And her twin sister attends East as well. And so the students decided to have a Shayna Pies Day, and to raise money for cancer awareness, particularly brain cancer. And on March 14th of last week, teachers were selected and to get pies, and students raised funds, and community members submitted funds to raise money and awareness for brain cancer research. So we know we always talk about, math, English, social studies, and science, and the other content areas, but it's really the social emotional learning and the connections with the community themselves that matter most to kids. And so I just want to, again, thank Shayna Pies and her family for allowing her to work with us for so many years and giving to our students. But more importantly, I want to congratulate our students for being so thoughtful, honoring her life permanently at East, and to continue to raise funds to research cancer, which is taking too many good people too soon. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nelms. Any questions for Dr. Nelms? Commissioner Malloy?
Yeah, more just comment. I just wanted to say thank you for uplifting the TLI program, and I think so many kids are benefiting from that, and we have such a shortage for teachers. What a great opportunity. You have two commissioners who have kids in that program, and my daughter got to explore a 6th grade classroom yesterday and has really become interested in teaching because of it, so thank you.
That's great. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments to Dr. Nelms? Hearing none. Thank you, Dr. Nelms.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, and so I'm going to turn it over to Superintendent Peluso. He has some comments to make.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to make some comments regarding the budget and the budget process and the budget book. This evening, I will be providing the Board of Education with their draft budget book, and it'll be posted to our website tomorrow morning. And at that point in time, Dr. Jallo and I and the board will go through our budget process, and we are going to be doing a joint presentation on the budget during the budget deliberation process and the budget workshops. It made, when we were going through the process, having Dr. Jallo do a presentation tonight when she doesn't have the draft budget would just be a confusing process for everyone else. You'd be presenting on what we provided at the February 14th or 14th meeting, which was a pre-draft of the draft budget. So I didn't want Dr. Jallo to do a presentation on a pre-draft of a draft budget. We'd rather have a presentation jointly done on the draft budget. So just wanted to share that information. Draft budget book will be posted on the district website tomorrow morning, and the draft budget book will be delivered to the Board of Education this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Peluso. Any questions for Dr. Peluso? Comments? All right, so we'll go on to our resolutions. We're going to do the consent agenda items individually. There's one that's going to be withdrawn. So can I get a motion for Resolution 497?
So moved.
Second, moved by Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Commissioner Adams. Any questions or comments related to Resolution 497? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion for Resolution 498?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy. Is there a second? Seconded by Vice President LeBron. Any questions or comments related to Resolution 498? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So Resolution 499, is this the one that's going to be withdrawn?
President Ellie, administration would like to withdraw Resolution 499 tonight.
All right, thank you. Can I get a motion for Resolution 500?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Any questions or comments related to Resolution 500? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. I'm also told we're going to do the individual, human capital resolutions individually. There's one that we want to go into executive session. Is there a motion for Resolution 501?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Vice President LeBron. Any questions or comments related to Resolution 501? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion for Resolution 502?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice President LeBron. Any questions or comments related to Resolution 502? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion for Resolution 503?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice President LeBron. Any questions or comments related to Resolution 503? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion for Resolution 504?
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Vice President LeBron. Any questions or comments related to Resolution 504? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Resolution 505, is this the one we wanted to go into executive
Yeah.
session? Okay.
How should we,
Motion to go into executive?
Just skip it and go to.
Skip it.
All right.
skip through the rest?
All right,
Okay,
thank you. Is there a motion for Resolution 506?
So moved.
Second.
Seconded, moved by Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Vice President LeBron. Any questions or comments related to Resolution 506? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion for Resolution 507?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Vice President LeBron. Any questions or comments related to Resolution 507? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Is there a motion for Resolution 508?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Simmons, seconded by Commissioner Malloy. Any questions or comments related to Resolution 508. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion for Resolution 509?
Motion.
Motion by Vice
Second.
President LeBron, seconded by Commissioner Malloy. Any questions or comments related to Resolution 509?
Yes.
Vice President LeBron?
I just have to both thank the administration and the superintendent for this appointment. I am so excited to see that Leah is moving into the position permanently, and I do wholeheartedly believe that she has the passion and drive to take Oasis to the next level. Forever grateful to Paul and all his leadership in ensuring that Oasis continues to serve our community, but I just know that Leah is going to just take this to, like I said, the next level, and that the folks who will benefit are some of our own families, extended family members, you know, siblings, parents, and so forth. And so, Leah, congratulations and welcome permanently to the new role. Thank you.
I'd also like to just
Commissioner Simmons?
Excuse me, I'm sorry, thank you, President. I'd also like to ditto those sentiments. I met Leah at East High School when she was working there, and she was doing great things, great energy at that time, and so I know it has transcended over to where she is currently. So again, congratulations.
Thank you. Any other comments on Resolution 509? Commissioner Patterson?
Yes, I am the liaison, or I oversee the Oasis program, so I've had the opportunity to speak with her on a number of occasions, and again, just to confirm, she's a great choice, you know, for that position, so great job, Dr. Peluso.
Thank you, Commissioner Patterson. All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Adams.
Yeah, I would just like to say, me and Leah go a long way back, school 10, and so I definitely support this move.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Is there a motion for Resolution 510?
Motion.
Second.
Moved by Vice President LeBron, seconded by Commissioner Malloy. Any questions or comments related to Resolution 510? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, is there a motion for Resolution 511?
So moved?
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Vice President LeBron. Any questions or comments related to Resolution 511? Vice President LeBron?
Yeah, so two comments. One, I just want to point out that a few years ago, the board and the district made a permanent decision to honor the Indigenous Peoples Day versus Columbus Day. So I would like to make a request now that that language be removed from this calendar, and that we continue to honor Indigenous Peoples Day in alignment with many other cities across the states who have also chosen to honor the people who were here before many of us. So that's one. And two, I also, again, want to thank the superintendent and all the other superintendents across the state of New York, but certainly in Monroe County, who have given us April 8th of 2024 off. And there is a reason that that request was made from more than 500 stakeholders around the table who are planning, along with the Rochester Museum Science Center, the total eclipse day. So Rochester will have a total eclipse on April 8th at 3:20 p.m. Next year. And there's a large task force. We've been planning for this for a few years now, but we're almost a year out now. And so we're very excited. And the next solar total eclipse will not happen in 100 years in Rochester. So it's a fun nerd fact, but it is an important fact. And we're hoping to do lots of community education and engagement and ensuring that all of our populations, whether we're serving in the district or out in the community, have access to proper eyewear. So we want folks to be able to enjoy and be a part of the solar eclipse, but not look up directly at the sun without proper eyewear. But it is a big deal, and you'll hear more about that as time goes on, but I just wanted to highlight that tonight because it extends recess a little bit, but the hope is that our students are able to go outside in their homes and in their neighborhoods and partake in the solar eclipse and all of the education activities that will start to happen, hopefully in the fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President LeBron. Any other questions or comments in reference to Resolution 511?
Just a question around that same area. Just what are we doing to make sure the students are prepared for regions with the extended recess that's taking place? Because it looks like they'll have prep time. And, if you're prepped properly, you should still be okay. But some students, with that lag time, may still need some additional supports. And then it's right before Regents exams. What are we doing to support them?
We're going to have to get ahead of communicating early, right? That we're extending the break for that 8th, right? And there's a lot of educational opportunities on that 8th that we have to make sure that our families know to take advantage of. It is a pretty cool day. It's like Vice President LeBron says, it kind of gets the nerd in you going a little bit when you start to get into this. But we will make sure that we're communicating early and often about coming back and being prepared. We'll prepare well before, but when they come back, it's going to be, focus time for exams.
Awesome. And is the district supporting, this is Sonia, is the district supporting students getting to that experience?
So yeah, it is absolutely. It is going to be like Vice President LeBron said, the county's talking about it, huge tourist event because Rochester is only one of the cities very few cities are in this path, and we are one, and they are anticipating large amount of people and from a tourism standpoint to come to this region. Yep.
Any other questions or comments related to Resolution 511? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. So we have voted on all of those resolutions except for Resolution 505. Now down to the East EPO, and I'll bundle those. Can I get a motion for Resolution 512 through 514?
Motion.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Patterson, seconded by Commissioner Powell. Any questions or comments related to?
Yeah, I do.
Resolutions 512 through 514. Commissioner Malloy?
Yeah, just quickly, I'm wondering about for summer scheduling, what is the normal course of action? What is the normal schedule for when our registrars are doing this work? And is this different from what RCSD is doing? I think that sometimes there's a concern if this work is being done for that school year in July, at that point, a lot of the scheduling should have maybe already been done. So I'm just wondering if you could walk us through that process.
Thank you. This is our normal process. It's been the same process for 8 years. I believe, I can't speak for the district, but I think it may have changed and morphed over the years. I'm not certain. This has been our process for all the years. So the skeleton of the master schedule should actually start around December or January. So we've already kind of started thinking about the skeleton of that. Students have course selection requests, typically January, February, and so you start to build the shell of the schedule. And then as kids pass courses or need to retake courses, you have to adjust that. And then after summer school, there's another adjustment based on if kids attended and passed or did not. So I would say in a system where the vast majority of kids pass their courses, there's not a lot of work to be done between May and September. Unfortunately, we have students who need to repeat courses sometimes. You need to fluctuate and adjust that. So I can't speak for the district's perspective, but I also know that because we have this structure, there's little to no changes to the master schedule when kids start in September. What you want to avoid is kids showing up the first day, getting the schedule, that they have to adjust and keep adjusting for the first 2 weeks of school. I'm not saying that happens here, but I've been in other spaces where that's happened, and it does not start off the year good for that student or their kids. Also, having the master schedules be reworked allows you to maximize your staffing, so you can have staffing efficiency. So we have at times had cost savings by not needing as many teachers as we thought we would, because we were able to collapse and consolidate the master schedule in ways that created efficiency. So it's not an easy answer, but it really starts October, November, as you start to monitor what happens. By the end of the first semester, you have an idea which kids are going to need what type of support. And then you start to, play with that, looking at your trend data to see how many classes to teach kids you might need. So it is a laborious process to take on. And doesn't just start in the summer. Like summer kind of, helps to put the final touches on it.
Yeah, I think my concern was that as a teacher, I know when scheduling typically starts, and, you know, we see counselors, et cetera, working in other districts starting in January and February, and I know that's certainly taking place at, like, my high school right now. Their schedules are pretty much done for next year, and so I do understand that there are kids who still need to pass exams, especially in the summer, to make those hand-scheduled changes. There are special education needs. I guess my concern is looking at the number of hours that are allocated in this resolution, 180 for one of the employees. It just seems like you wouldn't need that many hours to do that final scheduling. And so I worry when I see that number, that perhaps that scheduling, the master schedule is already built well before the summer even begins. And so I guess I'm just concerned at the number of hours that we're paying for in the summertime.
I completely understand the concern, but I will tell you, a school district that has a graduation rate of above 90%, and kids who pass their courses at 95% pass rate, master schedules are simple. And we're faced with the realities that that's not always the case. Particularly, you look at freshmen. Look at the freshman class alone across any urban setting. There are students who need to retake a number of courses to get caught up, and so sometimes you're double booking. You also often at times have to change the master schedule for students in the second semester based on their credit attainment. So I understand the concern, and we talk about this all the time, and we try to find efficiencies. I will also say, in this case, this employee probably far exceeds those number of hours before the school starts. But that's the maximum that I've allowed for the last few years. It was like, you can't exceed that. So I do understand that concern. It is a concern. It's always been a concern of mine too. In some districts, there aren't registrars. It's just the counselors and the administrators. So in some districts, the administrators do that work. But it is a pretty complex process, and I don't know if Carmine Dr. Peluso wants to speak to this too, but with the master schedules is a very fluid process that takes us up to and sometimes through September.
Yeah, of course, and I appreciate all of that, and thank you for your answers, but I also think that when you're scheduling for 1,000 students, I don't know necessarily if it warrants that number of hours for only 1,000 students. When we talk about inequity district-wide, we are already short registrars in many of our other buildings, and I worry about the equity piece, but thank you for your responses.
You're welcome.
And I have a question, Dr. Nems, with regard to the school home repair course. Talk about that, please.
Yeah. So let's see. So we have about 4 years ago, some parents and students came to us, and teachers came to us and said, hey, we want to have a old school like repair course, sort of like Project Lead the Way was maybe 20 years ago, home careers back in the day. And so we hadn't planned for that at first. And I said, are you certain? So they said, well, what if we get some wood donated that we can kind of show what it is? So these kids are now doing electrical working. They're building shelving units. I think they did a shed last year. So that program is really like the old school workshop type of model. They use technology like CAD drawings to kind of scale the item they want to make, and then they actually build it. And that program is amazing. In fact, it's interesting, being Women's History Month, when I was in a class maybe 3 months ago, they had an after-school program. I think there were 10 kids in there, and 9 of them were female. And it was just really cool to see that, those students in there making and carving. So yeah, it's something that's growing. It was a parent and student-driven initiative that we adjusted and started to build a program based on it, because they said they wanted to learn how to do those things.
It's a good side hustle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah. I just paid somebody to do my bathrooms. I know. It's a lot.
Yeah. Any other questions for Dr. Nems? Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. Thank you. We will bundle the operations and facilities resolutions. Is there a motion for resolution 515 through 520?
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Powell. Seconded by Commissioner Malloy. Any questions or comments relating to resolution 515 through 520? I have one in terms of 520. Can you discuss that, Mike, through Dr. Peluso? 520.
So I'll ask Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Schmidt, to come up.
This is the Crisis Prevention Institute.
Good evening, President Elliott, Vice President LeBron, Superintendent Peluso, and Dr. Nelms. The training is for us to train our own training staff to then train additional personnel. We trained 19 staff members last August. Those 19 staff members have trained about 250 people. With this resolution, we will be able to train another 16 people, which would then be able to expand our scope. But now with 35 individuals to do the training, we'd have much more people to call upon, and kind of because people's schedules and so forth. It just is a larger pool of people to draw from.
So have we seen any results from this training at this point? Maybe that's a premature question, but have we seen in terms of any reduction in violence or crisis within our buildings? Or is it just too soon to?
Yeah, I would think probably, we certainly have our share, as well documented, our share of incidents. We can do a little work in terms of some data for you and then provide that with Dr. Peluso's permission to the board.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're
Any
very
other
welcome.
questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, thank you.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Is there a resolution, excuse me, is there a motion, excuse me, for Resolution 522?
Motion. Second.
Moved by Vice President LeBron, seconded by Commissioner Simmons.
Excuse me, President Elliott.
Yes.
Are you calling for a motion for 521 or 522? I
I'm
heard you say
sorry.
522.
Yep, 521.
Okay.
Yep, that's the IM&T resolution? Thank you.
Correct.
Any questions or comments related?
Can you just confirm who motioned and who
I
seconded? I'm sorry.
motion, Commissioner Simmons.
Thank you.
Second, thank you.
Any questions or comments related to Resolution 521? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Is there a motion for Resolution 522?
Motion.
Moved by Vice
Second.
President LeBron, seconded by Vice President Malloy.
No,
Simmons?
Second.
Commissioner Malloy.
All right. Any questions or comments related to Resolution 522?
Yes.
Commissioner Malloy?
So this is a large transfer to our charter schools. Can you just maybe explain this for the public? Because this is a big number, and it looks like we're taking from other departments.
Absolutely. So there was more charter schools than students than we budgeted for in the 22-23 budget. And so therefore, we're continuing to see even numbers mid-year increase with our charter schools. So we have to do a transfer from savings in terms of salary savings and other tuition funds where this money sits to make sure that we're right-sized in our budget for charter school tuition.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a clarifying question? So each of these offsets listed in the attached document is a position that was eliminated due to true-ups? Is that correct?
So these are either salary savings versus there being a vacancy in the position and potentially a sub in there, right? Or actual cost of salary versus what was budgeted.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah, Vice President Malloy. Vice President Malloy.
Wow,
Commissioner Malloy?
So does that mean that those positions, if there are subs in some of those positions we still need for next year? So this is a temporary savings.
So this is just this year's adjustments for 22-23. So what our current budget is, what we currently have positioned in terms of what we have people in terms of positions, and then salary savings from there. Some of them are vacant positions, some of them are no longer needed positions that were actually budgeted for 22-23.
So as we go through the budgeting process this year,
Yes.
will that $5 million increase then be reflected in next year's budget?
So-
Or that's still there?
Plus, so this year's budget, if I go back and I'm going off my top of my head, and don't hold me to it because I'm doing 23, 24 numbers right now too. We were budgeted for 100, we should have been at 105, right, based on what we're seeing right now, or a little bit more. Next year, we're anticipating 113. We're seeing an increase as well. So next year's budget is going to be a more true indicator of what we believe enrollment will be for charter schools for 23, 24.
And then to budget and set aside that potential increase, will we need to make cuts then?
Well, we're going to have to balance the budget, right? So we did have some increase in foundation aid, right, in terms of being fully funded. So we did have a little bit of cushion this year to help alleviate some of that hit. But as we go forth to 24, 25, those numbers are going to become a little bit harder to take and a little bit more real. But yes, we have to balance the budget.
And obviously, we have to balance the budget, but then those positions that are listed in this document, will those go back to those schools?
So how we budget is based on how we staff is based on projected enrollment. So we project the enrollment in those schools. Some of these positions either are not needed because the projected enrollment didn't hit the actual numbers. Some of them may be filled with a sub that's not hitting this and is hitting our sub line. So they're not hitting the A-funded budget, they're hitting the sub line. So that's where you'll see over the last few years, there's money what will become what we call salary savings, right? And there's always salary savings because we have either vacancies or subs in positions, and they're hitting the sub line versus hitting the general fund line.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All those in favor of Resolution 522?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Can I get a motion for Resolution 523
So moved.
through 527? Moved by Commissioner Malloy, second
Second.
by Vice President LeBron. Any questions or comments related to these resolutions? Commissioner Patterson?
Question. 523. I read the content of it and the description, but I don't have a clear understanding. Is this like a PTA? Hold on, I got to move something out of the way here. Hold on one second. 523. I can't move that. So I guess I'm looking for, it says parent, teacher, student organization. What is this that we're paying for? It's only $3,500, I understand, but, what is exactly we're paying for? Is it the PTA or like they do out in the suburbs or what? What exactly are we paying for?
So it is for staff salaries, but I'm going to have Chief Moran come and explain what exactly is happening at School of the Arts. Yep.
They're doing a series of parent events or parent workshops at SOTA, and the PTO is hosting it. PTSO is hosting it, so parents will come in, they'll receive some training with staff on various topics that was selected by the families.
You okay, Commissioner Patterson? You have any other questions?
Yeah, I don't have any further questions at this point in time. I think I'll put them in the question log if I have additional.
Okay. Any other questions regarding those resolutions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm opposed at this point in time until I get a clear definition of, what I'm looking for, explanation, I should say.
All right. So, Madam Board Clerk, how do we do this? Because we voted on them as a bundle, but.
No, he can.
We could do that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then good. All right, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Patterson. Can I get is there a motion for Resolution 528 through 533?
Motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBron, seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Any questions or comments related to Resolutions 528 through 533? I have a question with regard to 533. How many students do we, and maybe this is a historical question, but how many students do we have who participate in tutoring? Because if I'm not mistaken, we've had these programs before, and we paid these teachers, but students have not shown up. So, is this worth our money if our students are not showing up? Any information regarding, you know, they're going to be there from 5 to 6:30. Do they show up during that time? Or do they show up more on Saturdays? Can you talk to me a little bit about that, Dr. Peluso?
So, you know, we can get you some numbers in terms of what is happening in the schools now, but in the high schools, where you'll see it is the number of credits recovered through either marking period credit or credit recovery. So we'll start to see kids earn credits that can't do it from the typical day, but we collect data on credits earned, and we obviously, the schools collect who's attending those days, so we could absolutely put something together for you.
All right, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Is there a motion for resolutions 534 through 540?
Motion, sorry.
Second.
Moved by Vice President LeBron, seconded by Commissioner Malloy. Any questions or comments related to resolutions 534 through 540? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion for resolutions 541 through 542?
So moved. Second.
Motion.
Moved by Vice President LeBron, seconded by Commissioner Malloy. Any questions or comments related to resolutions 541 through 542? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion for resolutions 543 through 551?
Motion.
Second.
Moved by Vice President LeBron, seconded by Commissioner Malloy. Any questions or comments related to resolutions 543 through 551? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Is there a resolution for, is there a motion for resolution 541? We just did those, correct? Just did those.
Correct.
Right. Is there a motion for resolution 543 through 551?
Motion.
No, we just voted on that. We're at 552 to 554 in section 19.
Motion for 552 through
Yeah, but-
554.
All right,
Second.
I've got to go back, I've got to go back to resolution 551. I have to abstain on that one because my organization, yep, so I'll abstain on resolution 551. Yeah,
Good catch.
all right. So we're down where?
552, motion for 552 through 554.
All right, so I'll,
Seconded by.
all right. Any questions or comments on those resolutions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion for resolution 555 and 556?
Motion.
Second.
Moved by Vice President LeBron, seconded by Commissioner Malloy. Any questions or comments related to resolutions 555 and 556?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Powell?
Yeah, I just want to call out policy 8505. This is a new policy, and the thing is that we currently don't charge our students because we fall under the community eligibility. However, at some point, that may not be true anymore. So this is a policy that was recommended by NYSBA, and we're adopting it, but it's a very brief policy. I can read it in total. The board believes in maintaining the integrity and dignity of student households. The district's aim is to provide student access to nutritious meals and ensure that no pupil is shamed or treated differently. The board recognizes that the Rochester City School District currently participates in community eligibility for student meals. With this in mind, student shaming is unlikely since no student can be singled out for not paying for their meal. We wanted to cover this base about shaming because it is an important issue that's been in the public eye since then Governor Cuomo raised it as an issue, so we wanted to cover that as a new policy.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments related to resolutions 555 and 556? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion for Resolution 557?
So, second?
Moved by Vice President LeBron, seconded by Commissioner Malloy. Any questions or comments related to Resolution 557? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Can I get a motion to lift from the table the resolution to permanently appoint to the Civil Service title table from the February 16th, 2023 business meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice President LeBron. Any questions or comments related to resolution?
The administration would like to withdraw Resolution 450B.
All right, thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Powell to talk about the second and those resolutions, policies that were rescinded, and then under new business, the first readings. Commissioner Powell?
Just very briefly, since the motion was introduced, can you just vote on the motion to withdraw?
Oh, we have to do, okay. All right, thank you, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? See, General Counsel, you didn't tell me that. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Commissioner Powell.
Okay, I haven't figured out a shortcut for this, but because we do have a requirement for first and second reading, we're at that point in our agenda where we're supposed to be doing second readings for 12 policies. So I'll read the title, I'll pause and look to see if anyone wants to speak to it, and then we can move right on, okay? Policy 0201, Equity and Education Excellence Policy. Seeing no comments. Policy 2000, Board Goals, Board of Education Goals and Metrics. We spent several months working out this language. Any last minute alibis on this one? No. Policy 2521, School Board Conferences, Conventions, and Workshops. Seeing no comments. Policy 3100, Superintendents of Schools. No comments. 3111, Recruitment of the Superintendent. No comments. Policy 3220, Administrative Councils, Cabinets, and Committees. No comments. 3230, the org chart. This, the org chart itself is an exhibit, so it should be updated on the website as frequently as the superintendent changes it, or if, so long as the budget supports it. Policy 3310, Development of Regulations. No comments. Policy 9110, Equal Employment Opportunity. No comment. Policy 9200, Criminal History Background Checks. No comments. 9240, Recruitment, Hiring, and Residence Initiative. No comments. Policy 9330, Evaluation of Staff. And there are no comments. So we just sort of cleaned house with crossing a number of leftovers from previous sections of the book, and the 9,000 series. We've just done a good-sized hunk of in our first round of the 9,000 series. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell. So I'm going to ask for a motion to go into executive session to discuss matters leading to...
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize, Madam Chair. We haven't done the first readings.
Okay.
There's also, there are also 4 policies recommended for rescission.
Okay.
Those are policy 3130, superintendent contract, policy 3131, superintendent's compensation and benefits, policy 3200, administrative organization, and policy 9540. The first 3 of these were like single paragraph sort of boilerplate policies that just didn't seem to be adding any value. And the 4th, we're declaring victory. The state laws have changed, so domestic partners are now able to marry, and so there's no reason to hold this particular policy out for equity's sake. So those are the policies recommended for rescission. The only policy under discussion in the first reading is policy 6500, the fund balance policy. If there are any members of our watching community that would like to comment on this, next month will be the second reading, and then we will be voting on this, if all goes right, in the May meeting. Okay? Thank you for letting me.
Thank you,
Resume.
thank you. So, is
President Elliott,
Commissioner Malloy?
I just want to say, it's a point of personal privilege more than anything. Thank you to Commissioner Powell. This is often thankless work, and I've come to appreciate over the last 3 years the work that you do on our policy committee. And I just want you to know how much we appreciate it, or at least I appreciate it, because this is tedious work, and it's not super exciting stuff, but someone has to do it, and so I thank you.
It was made very easy, first because our now board clerk, Rahima Wynn, set up a process, and Charisma Travis is an absolute taskmaster, and because she's so good at what she does, I don't need to do a lot. It's not a heavy lift for me because our staff is just so on it, and everyone is participating and doing a great job, so thank you.
Commissioner Patterson?
Yes, I'm going back, but I have a question relative to Resolution 557. Can I ask that question?
How does that go, General Counsel? Commissioner Patterson wants to ask a question relative to Resolution 557.
We're past that point in the agenda, so it's
Put in the
not
question log?
currently, right, it's not currently before the body. I mean, as chair, you could allow it, obviously, but, you know, it might be appropriate for the question log, so it's up to you, Madam President.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
All right, so it looks like we're expending $3,181,730 here to Cherry Road Technology. I had a question in the question log that I had posed relative to clarification of Oracle and the expenditures. And I didn't really understand the document that was sent. And then I requested to meet with someone that could break that down for me so I could have a better understanding of it. So, Dr. Peluso, can we make arrangements for me to meet with someone to break that email down, that document down, so I have a clear understanding of the expenditures to Oracle?
Yeah, absolutely. Oracle's a massive understanding, and it's taken a lot of us a long time to kind of get our heads around that, but absolutely we can get someone to kind of sit down with you and go through it.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, any other questions for the good of the order before I ask for a motion to go into executive session? All right, so is there a motion, can I get a motion to go into executive session to discuss matters leading to the appointment, employment, status of a specific individual, collective bargaining, and/or to discuss matters of concern with the general counsel? Who made the motion?
Motion. Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. So to our listening audience, we're going to adjourned from downstairs. We thank you for listening, and we will just say to you, to the women in your life, please congratulate them on Women's History Month and all the work that they do. Thank you and have a great night.